There's a tree behind me. It's a nice looking tree. I like it. There's a dog comb of some kind in my left hand. I got an MRI tomorrow. I decided to come outside, try to relax. For some reason, I'm like incredibly nervous about this MRI. It's an MRI of my lumbar spine, which has been having problems for, well, genuinely for years. But it's been really bad lately. So we're going to see what's going on. Hopefully, I don't have any severe issues. I'm not too worried of it being anything worse than just like a little bit of a disc herniation. That's what we were thinking from physical therapy, was that it was a disc herniation at L4, L5, L5S1, because I had sciatica and I had hip flexor weakness, which was a whole thing. I could barely walk up the stairs. I would walk up the stairs and I'd have severe pain, and it was not fun whatsoever. Especially the day that I had to run, thinking, guys, we got to go right now. Somebody's coding at the rave. That was fun. And then there was nobody coding at the rave. They were doing computer programming. That was ridiculous. I hated it. I hated it so much that was what they were doing. And I thought that I had to run an emergency response. That was fun. But yeah, watched the first half of the Saints-Jags game. That was pretty fun. Richmond last night was, I think it was a good race. Austin Dillon won for the second consecutive year at Richmond. He's 28th in points. Not only is he not only just only good at one type of track, he's good at one track. Although he's won a Daytona 500, a Coke 600. I'm glad Austin never won at Indianapolis, because what? That would have been awful. I'm glad Bubba won the Brickyard 400 this year, putting him in the playoffs this year. He was always on the bubble of the playoffs. He was always somebody who was pretty consistent. But this format, unfortunately, does not reward consistency, which stinks, and I don't like that. I really like when my champion is somebody who's consistent, because that's what motorsport is about. It's about winning, yes, but it's also about consistency. Where like in football, and even in baseball, it's about consistency. Like the the playoffs in baseball is a weird thing because of such a small sample size. Like a full season of plate appearances is like 650 plate appearances for a leadoff hitter. Sometimes a leadoff hitter, like Ichiro, had 722 in the season. He had 262 hits. And with that, like, Mariners didn't even make the playoffs that year. And obviously Ichiro's out there setting records, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, other than that, not much happened in the playoffs. I think 2004. Who won the World Series in 2004? Red Sox. Red Sox beat the Yankees to come back from a 3-0 deficit in the ALCS. That was not fun for Yankees fans. One of the first times in Major League Sports history that happened. I think it was actually the first time in the history of the Major League Baseball. We've had a bunch of 3-0 and 3-1 deficits overcome in the last few years in the NBA. If you remember, the Thunder actually blew a 3-1 lead to the Warriors in 2016. Then the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cavs later, which was kind of funny that happened, because it's like, well, everybody's just going to trade blowing 3-1 leads. But the thing with that was LeBron played absolutely out of his mind. I will fix that in a second. I didn't need to do that. Huh? Yeah, I will fix that. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn my face off. But yeah, LeBron played out of his mind that year in 2016. It rained a little while ago. Hasn't rained in a while here, and it's been in the 90s. According to this thermometer over here, it's about 78, 79 degrees right now. Is a relatively comfortable temperature for me. But yeah, aside from that, not much happening today. Mariners playing the Little League World Series, Little League Classic tonight. I have just the most massive headache right now. And I do not understand why. But that's why I came outside. Try to relax. I've been working on my hydration. My hydration's been pretty good. I might have a glass of milk when I go in the house. Strawberry milk, that's delicious. I may have, I might have an ice cream cone. I don't know. I don't know. Strawberry milk sounds delicious right now. You know, a little bit of flavor, a little bit of hydration. Milk is something that's very hydrative, which is good for everybody. Was live for a little while earlier. Got 5 hours of watch time off of that, which was really nice. Um, School starts in a week. I was playing some House Flipper a few minutes ago, and I totally screwed everything up, which was not great. What? I don't actually know what that means, so if you could elaborate, that would be great. Um, yeah, I was playing House Flipper. I got the Farm DLC, the Luxury DLC. I got the Pet DLC. I got the Garden DLC, and the HGTV DLC. And I am having a decent amount of fun with all of the DLCs. I completed all of the regular jobs, not to 100%, but I have $6 million, so I have all the houses unlocked, so I can do a whole bunch of fun stuff with them. With $6 million, I don't know what I'm going to do with $6 million, but I know it's going to be fun to do $6 million worth of stuff in a house flipper. Aside from that, I'm thinking about getting House Flipper 2 and playing that soon. I got Kingdom Hearts recently. I haven't actually played it very much. I'm trying to learn how to sew. I have a lot going on right now. Trying to go live for at least an hour a day. I might, starting tomorrow, go live for every Mariners game for the rest of the season that's not on Tuesday or Thursday. Just as a thing to do, because on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to be playing D&D. Although I don't know if I'm going to be able to go live tomorrow for the Mariners game because we play the Phillies tomorrow at like 6:35. I will be in an MRI. That's going to be fun. Oh, I should call my dentist and be like, "Hey, are any of my fillings metal?" Because that might be interesting. Probably not. Like, probably not metallic, or not metallic, magnetic. Because I want to go into the MRI and be like, "Hi, I'm here for my MRI," and then my mouth rips open and I die. I don't want that. That would suck. That would really, really suck a lot. What else happened this week? My grandpa's aide came to work both days, yesterday and today, and left early. Today she left by 2. Yesterday she left around 4. And she's supposed to be there till 7. Didn't change Grandpa at all, so my mother had to go and change him, which is not pleasant, especially because my mother's having surgery in, 11 days on the 27th, which is going to be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know how that'll work for her because she's having knee surgery. Um, I have to get a ride from my parents tomorrow to the MRI because I'm not legally allowed to drive myself to the MRI or back because I have Xanax is what I'm taking today. Is what I'm taking beforehand for the anxiety. I'm also going to be in an open MRI because I've got claustrophobia. And the last time I had an MRI, I thought I was going to die. It did not feel good. It was a brain MRI. And I did not like it at all. I did a CAT scanner the other day when I went to the ER. That wasn't fun either. Especially because I had a C-collar on because I was in a motor vehicle accident. And I was on the bus. I was in a motor vehicle accident, and unfortunately, I had to go to the hospital because it caused extra pain. And that was not fun. So I had the C-collar on, and they were like, "Okay, put your arms here, blah, blah, blah." And I go, "Okay." So I go into the CT scanner, and it's like, "Okay." And then my arms hit it, and they're like, "Oh, you can do this." And I'm like, "Oh, phew." So I was able to actually move my arms in a way that didn't stink. because when they put me in the first time, it scared me for a second because I thought I hurt myself. Thankfully, I didn't. And they did the CT scan because the doctor did the um, thing where you follow the finger with your eyes, and I failed that test, and it was really, really bad. So she wanted to evaluate for a concussion or a potential brain bleed or anything like that. Um, Thankfully, it was clean. The CT scan was clean. The X-ray was clean. Hello, Midnight. How are ya? Thankfully, the CT scan was clean because, like, if the CT scan wasn't clean, I'd have had to sit there, and then I probably would have had to call my family and be like, "Hey, I'm being admitted to the hospital," and they'd be like, "With what?" And if I had to be like, "Oh, I've got a brain bleed," they'd be scared shitless. For obvious reasons, because you would always be scared shitless if your kid, no matter what age they are, gets admitted to the hospital for something like that. And it was not fun. Not fun at all to think about the way that worked. But I was grateful that the hospital took care of me. I didn't get a bed or a room because they were just like evaluating me for a motor vehicle accident and checking me out and everything. On my diagnosis chart, it actually said, "You have been diagnosed with motor vehicle accident," which I thought was one of the funniest diagnoses, because I've never seen that ICD-10 code before. But it would have been funny if, like, it had been motor vehicle accident, concussion, brain bleed. Hello, solicitor. How are you? You mean again? Yeah, I'm hanging out here for a few minutes because I got nothing better to do. There's really like nothing on TV right now. I don't want to start an anime right now because I know if I start an anime, the one I'm looking at starting is Don on Netflix because season 2 is about to come, or is coming out, so that's pretty cool. But if I start it, that's going to be a whole thing. I'm going to end up trying to watch the whole thing. Now, my question is, how does it work when I actually do the press the short button? Because if I press the shorts button, it just does some interesting stuff. Oh, I have better lighting now, so that's why more people are here. Binge Russo's podcast. I listen to Cornette. I listen to the Jim Cornette Experience. I don't really know if I want to hear Russo's side of the story because he created things like the damn Viagra on a pole match. Why is there fucking Viagra on a pole in a wrestling ring? There's some Viagra. Tune into WCW Nitro on Monday night and you turn on a TV and there's just Viagra in the wrestling ring. And they're having a match over the Viagra. And then the Viagra ends up all over the wrestling ring, and it's just a whole mess. Why? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? And then why is Buff Bagwell's mom on a forklift having a match? Why? Why is that a match type? Why are we having a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match? Why is that a thing? That shouldn't be a thing. That should not be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. I wish people still talked about 9/11 like this. Yeah, 9/11 shouldn't be a thing either. No, it shouldn't be a thing. We should have done something about it. We should have made sure that there wasn't 9/11. We don't need people to be doing 9/11s. Then, like, that wasn't even the first 9/11. There was this whole other 9/11 in the 1980s where they tried to blow up the Twin Towers. And then, friggin' you turn on the Attitude Era, you got the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. I don't know if Russo came up with that or Vince came up with that himself. Because, like, I can see Vince being like, yeah, I want my employees to kiss my ass. How do I make that happen? And it's like, oh, yeah, I know how I do it. I say that it's part of the wrestling storyline. Just be like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. This was going to happen. You got to get in my ring and kiss my ass. Yeah, I go outside pretty much a lot. I like going outside. It's pretty fun. I haven't been able to go outside a lot lately. Just due to the fact that it's been 100 degrees. And I'm on some Balta, which makes it... Yeah, why is Kane an evil dentist? And then, Dr. Isaac Yankem, DDS, comes back and he's fucking the Undertaker's brother, comes out under Hell in a Cell. That don't make any fucking sense. Doesn't make any sense. And then later on, they crucify Stone Cold. Why are you crucifying Stone Cold? I mean, yeah, it wasn't on a cross. It was on that Undertaker symbol. But Jerry the King Lawler's like they're putting Stone Cold on that symbol. They literally crucified a guy in the ring. Like, what? Why are you crucifying a guy in the ring? I don't get it. I don't get it, Vince. Why are you crucifying a guy in the ring? And then later on, I think it was 2006. Yeah, that was WWE. 2006 or 2007, Shawn Michaels, born again Christian. Vince is like, you know what? Yeah, I know it's choreography, but it still doesn't make sense to crucify somebody in a wrestling ring. That's not wrestling. That's crucifixion. That's a whole different thing. I mean, yeah, there used to be some pretty fun storylines in wrestling, but it was a whole thing. Why not? Because, imagine Jesus decides he's going to come back. And they're just like, let me put it to you this way. Jesus is just like, Dad, I'm coming back. And God's just like, all right, yeah, go to the WWE Monday Night Raw that day when Stone Cold's about to get crucified. And he doesn't tell Jesus what's going to happen. And Jesus is sitting there. He's going to go and do a promo. I know they're about money, not morals. He's going to sit there, and maybe he's going to do a promo or something, or he's going to come back and minister outside Monday Night Raw. And he gets up, and he sees the friggin' Undertaker crucifying a dude. You talk about your Psalms, your John 3:16. Well, Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. Man, I got to get an Austin 3:16 shirt. It's one of the best things. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. But yeah, wrestling's one of those weird things where you don't know what's going to happen the next day. What else did Vince Russo do that I don't like? Vince Russo did a lot of things I don't like, but I really don't like a Viagra on a pole match. I mean, I don't like when Vince put that freaking ECW championship on himself. Like, the last thing I think about when I think of Vince is hardcore wrestling. The absolute last thing when I think of Vince is hardcore wrestling. With Vince, I think of just WWE style wrestling, that sanitized wrestling. Hogan versus Andre stuff. Although, half the time with Hogan, you don't know what's going on with him. He died recently. I don't have a P.O. box right now. I'm considering getting one, but I appreciate the offer. Thank you. Thank you. Have I seen Vince's... Have I seen Vince's nipples? Unfortunately, I have. I've watched Vince wrestle. I know why that message got held. Because, like, what? Unfortunately, I have seen that. And you know what match I really, as a kid, I loved? It was CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy. Title versus career. Steel Cage, Friday Night SmackDown. And Punk beat Jeff Hardy. And I thought Punk was the good guy because he was all like, I don't do drugs, blah, blah, blah. But really, Punk was making fun of a guy who had a legitimate medical issue of addiction, of alcoholism, substance use disorder, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, I know, like, there's a storyline reason you need to write Jeff Hardy off TV and everything and try to get him help. But yeah. CM Punk will not fight due to massive diarrhea issues. CM Punk will not fight due to massive diarrhea issues. Oh no. Not the diarrhea. I don't know about CM Punk with that because you never really know. I know teachers used to say that people had diarrhea of the mouth when they wanted students to shut up. And AJ Lee wrestled again. I think, unfortunately, she's at that point where if she wrestles again, she could die, which would suck. But I understand wanting to see somebody wrestle again, but I'd much rather they have a long, healthy life. It's like, hold on, let me see if I still got it. Is it this one, right? It's like, have you guys seen? This is Nick Walker here. That's his physique right now for his lower body. About 8.5 weeks out of the Olympia. Him and Samson Dauda are the favorites to win it. And, like, look at that legs. Yeah, he's vascular, but it's because those are varicose veins. That's Nick Walker. He is the favorite to win the Olympia. Last year, he pulled out of the Olympia for personal reasons. And the year before, he pulled out because of John Cena versus AJ Lee would be an interesting match. But yeah, Nick Walker's physique is interesting. I can show you his upper body now, too. This is his upper body just looks like a mass monster. Just like a mass monster. And, like, I could see him winning in a pose down. I could see him winning. If he gets lean, he's 8 weeks out of the Olympia. He's probably on a pretty big cycle right now. Pretty much, yeah. I could see him potentially winning the Olympia. I don't know. This is the first year I've really been following it. Long story on that. I just decided that one day I wanted to follow it. And I was like, okay, I guess that's a thing we're doing now. It all started, the first bodybuilder I actually followed was actually a woman who quit Hooters to be a bodybuilder, which was just the wildest sentence one of the wildest sentences I've ever heard. Because last night I actually heard, found out about something that Shaq did. Shaq, back in the day when he was on the Lakers, took a teammate's mouth guard, right, out of the locker, because the teammate had thrown aluminum popcorn at Shaq's car. So Shaq took the dude's mouth guard out the locker and shoved it up his ass and walked around with it. And then put it back in the locker. And then took the dude's toothbrush and took a shit and then stirred the shit with the toothbrush. And apparently everybody just thought it was funny and didn't want to do anything about it because it was Shaq. This is when he was on the Lakers. And I'm like, yeah, that's why the Lakers took Kobe and not Shaq. I mean, Shaq always wanted money. Apparently he never cashed any of his per diem checks because he was making $300K a game, which is astonishing to me. But yeah, when I look at Nick Walker, I'm like, Armand Abidi said something that he said that this isn't the bodybuilding he fell in love with, which I can totally understand that because Nick Walker, I think, is 6'3", 6'4", and his frame doesn't really, like classic bodybuilding, doesn't really support what you would think of for classic bodybuilding. He's got a bigger waist like me, which I'm working on the whole waist thing. I'm trying to figure that out. It's not easy because I'm not taking any like medications for it or anything. I might try Ozempic. I don't know. I'm going to talk to my doctor. And we'll see how it goes. I got a physical in 8 weeks. Part of the problem is it's real hard to actually get exercise when you don't know what's the problem with your back. Like right now, half the things that I want to do, I can't do because I end up being in pain halfway through. And it's like, great. I don't want to do that. And by halfway through, I mean like you try one thing or you try a half-mile walk and a quarter mile in, you're in pain. And it ain't fun. But yeah, that's Nick Walker's physique. About 8 weeks out of the Olympia. I want the lighting back on. Do I have another one of him? And this is last year's Miss Olympia. And apparently a friend of mine last night talking about how they wished they had the balls to take unfathomable amounts of tea. Just with her, she's pretty interesting to see how she'll do. I don't know if she's defending her title or not. And then what else do we got? Nothing else. Nothing else important happening right now. But yeah. And then Sulik said that he's going to make his pro debut at the Arnold Classic next year. He won the amateur Arnold this year, which was pretty cool for Sulik. But Sulik, oh my gosh, he has. I get out of breath sometimes when I do some heavy cardio, even not heavy cardio, even just light cardio. But Sulik, he gets out of breath just standing there, and I am genuinely worried about him because he's never actually talked about his cycle, and just from the mass that he has, and also his diet was terrible. Um, he's like, yeah, drink 5 liters of chocolate milk. No, no, just no. Yeah, no problem, Angela. Yeah, I don't like doing political stuff. I try to just talk. Sometimes, sometimes I like doing a little bit of political stuff. Like if we got breaking news, I might talk about it, but not really my thing. Um, Obviously, we had a little bit of breaking news yesterday with Zach Wheeler getting a blood clot, but that's not political. That's sports. That scares me that an athlete of his caliber was able to get a blood clot, and I'm grateful he's going to be able to get treatment, but I don't know what that means for his career. Um, the Mariners face the Phillies for 3 games starting tomorrow. Then we have Thursday off, so that's pretty exciting for us overall. So, yeah. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me as I now have to go inside as it's about to start thundering.